What's up, bitches? But do you have another hoodie? Do you wear anything else but that hoodie? You wore the same hoodie like half your videos, man. You don't have any.
Nobody even say
Shut your
nothing about
bitch
that
ass up.
shit, nigga.
I keep my shit clean, and I wear a lot of the same shit. Fucking deal with it. Most important thing is I stay sanitary. A lot of you motherfuckers wear different shit every time somebody see you. You still smell like playground dirt. Anyway, got some more shit to say, man. Look, I'll talk a lot of shit. I know I do. And in only 6 short videos, that's probably pretty obvious. But in the same mind where all that shit that I talk lies, there is also an entirely different portion full of very, very valuable pieces of life that I've taken from everything that I've been through. And one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my life is to take something from everything that presents challenge to you. Because depending on the way your thought process is, depending on the way that you navigate your own thoughts, there can be a lot to be found in the things that you go through. It's not just, oh, this shit happened. This is so fucked up. I hate this. I'm just going to sit here and sulk about it until I forget about it and then it gets better. And then I inevitably go through something else that puts me in the same frame of mind. And then it's just a fucking vicious cycle of you going through shit, not knowing how to process it, choosing not to process it, and then you forget about it, push it to the back of your mind, and then some more shit happens to you. And it just keeps fucking happening. The last thing you want to do is lie dormant in your tribulation. Because when you do that, you allow life to defeat you at every single fucking turn. And while you could have been a stronger man or a stronger woman, a stronger person in general, once you come out to the end of that, you chose to lie down, accept defeat, and not be the person who is open enough, who is self-aware enough, who's observant enough to take something from the things that they've been through. I could sit here and tell you way more stories about way more shit that I've been through than I would like to fucking admit, but such is life. Life ain't about to hand nobody shit. I'm gonna keep saying this shit every chance I get. Life don't give a fuck about you. And obviously that's kind of an over-the-top statement, but it's really not. But it kind of is. It might sound a little bit dramatic because clearly there is a lot of things in your life that remind you of how much you're cared for. Whether it be your family, whether it be your close friends that you've known for years upon years, whether it be the person that you're in a relationship with, whatever the fuck. Even the things that you go to in your own mind, in your own time, to have conversations with yourself, to visit yourself, and spend time with you, to keep in touch with who the fuck you are. That's necessary. And don't ever take that shit for granted. But when I say life don't give a fuck about you, I say that because of the state of mind that I've developed, because of the shit that's happened to me. And I'm not going to go in detail unless that's just some shit that people want to hear. So, talk to me. I'm just a regular person sitting in front of a camera. One of the things that I will be forever grateful for, first and foremost, I got to give a shout out to my mom because she's the one who planted this in me in the beginning. She didn't take it easy on us, me and my brother, when we were growing up. But she understood that if she took it easy on us, it was going to set us up to believe that we had the green light to be a certain way throughout this entire obstacle course that we call life. And there's a certain way that you just don't want to accept being. You don't want to accept being a person who's dependent. You don't want to accept being a person who's weak-minded. You don't want to accept being a person who doesn't know how to get their own shit straight. You always have to get everything that you receive from someone else instead of being able to create the peace in your own mind when there is none. But I said all that to say one of the biggest lessons that I've learned personally is to embrace my pain. I'll even go so far as to say I love my pain, because without my pain, I wouldn't know how to appreciate pleasure. I wouldn't know how to appreciate the things that bring me joy, that make me glad to be in and of this world. You have to have painful moments. You have to have things that challenge you and push you to the levels that you didn't even know were attainable. And you have to find the best way to deal with it by yourself. There's something that has rang very, very loud and true to me over the years that a YouTuber, one of my absolute all-time favorite YouTubers, said. Shout out to Kane Carter. He said, I have to learn how to be my strongest resource. Because in the event that I don't have anybody, whether it be just because they're not answering the phone or they die or just whatever the fuck, I have to be able to deal with that. You really think everybody that loves you and cares about you is going to be there for you 100% of the time when you need them the most? No. No one is guaranteed to be here even within the next 5 minutes. And this world does not stop rotating for nobody. So imagine being a person who thinks that just because you're going through something, there's somebody that you know who is better at dealing with issues than any motherfucker you've ever met in your fucking life. And thinking that just because you have issue, that person ain't got shit going on in their life. Like, just because this person is good at being a therapist and being someone who can bring you alleviation and joy and peace if they need to, imagine thinking that just because they can do that, that means that they don't have to deal with life themselves. They live in the same world as you. What the fuck makes you think they don't have to deal with this bullshit too? Whatever's fucking you up, there's something going on in their life that's fucking them up just as much. The difference is they learned how to love their pain. You didn't. And look, I'm not saying that that's anybody's fault or anything, because people grow up different. People are faced with different levels of adversity. People are put in different situations in their life, and their situational awareness develops based upon the things that they experience. And unfortunately, some people had to experience some pretty horrid things. And not only did they have to experience those things, but they had to learn how to be okay on their own. They didn't have nobody to take the pain away. So you know what they did? They sat in a room and they had conversations with themselves. Okay? This is the brand new issue. Right here on the table. You can turn to your left. You can turn to your right. You can look ahead of you. You can look behind you. As you can see, ain't nobody in this bitch to get you through this. The only person right now who is aware of what's happening and how it's affecting you So what the fuck we gonna do? Sit in this room and wait for somebody to come to our rescue? Or are we gonna grab life by the fucking nuts and figure out how to deal with it ourselves? I don't think we have a choice. So let's get to work. And that's what they did. They molded this slab of granite, complete with a body, a mind, a spirit, and a state of mental stability that allowed them to present themselves as someone who has it all figured out. At least when you compare them to the average motherfucker who has absolutely no idea what the fuck is going on, and they've been on this planet for damn near 30 years. That person is the one that everybody goes to. So imagine how exhausting it must be to be that person. To be that mother of 6 kids, divorced from her husband of 15 years, but she's the one that everybody runs to. To be the person who grew up without both parents because they were both killed when they were young. And they had to figure out how to not only navigate what they felt from that, they have to survive now. Imagine not even being in high school yet and already having to develop survival instincts that you should only have to visit during a hypothetical conversation with your friends about what would you do if you were stranded somewhere. These people were stranded. And they gathered whatever tools were necessary to get themselves back to a place where they didn't have to worry about whether or not they were going to be here tomorrow. They did that. Not because they wanted to, but because they knew it was necessary. Because of the pain that they were forced to endure. You think somebody wants to go through that? Or do you think that because of their circumstances, they had to figure life out right then and there and learn to love their pain? Because if they didn't, their pain, along with this world, was going to eat them alive. This is the world we live in. It doesn't get any easier. It doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any more merciful than what it is right now. All of the worst things that have ever happened to you, that's life in a nutshell. Obviously, there are those shining light moments where everything it couldn't be any more perfect. But all in all, life is a ruthless, vicious, heartless, callous demon that don't give a fuck what you gotta go through. That's why when shit happens to you, the best thing you can do is learn how to figure it out. Learn how to embrace the shit that you don't want to embrace. There are so many motherfuckers on this planet that would rather be comfortable than satisfied. And they wonder why every single time they try to go back to their comfortable place, they don't make any more progress as a person. Because they're determined to be comfortable. This is where complacency is born. Laying in your metaphorical bed when you could force yourself out of that bed, go out into the world, and figure out how to tame that motherfucking monster that is life. You can't do it from a place that you're so familiar with. It's not forcing you to become anything more than what you already are. You have to want that for yourself. That's why with this whole personal training thing, like I'm not babysitting nobody. I'm not. I'm here to help the people who want to be helped. If you don't want to be helped, what can anybody do for you? The greatest psychiatrist that this planet has ever fucking seen cannot build a house with no fucking tools. You have to provide the tools if you want help. You have to be a person who can learn, a person who can be taught, a person who can be humbled, a person who can be modest, a person who can be open-minded to understanding the world beyond what they want to understand. The world is much bigger than what you want to see. Way bigger. And there may not be an easy way. As a matter of fact, there isn't. I'm not going to tell you there's an easy way. If you want to listen to somebody else that tells you there's an easy way to get through life, go ahead. If you ask me, you can make life real fucking hard if you want. Or you can learn how to embrace and love your pain, so that no matter how hard shit gets, you can find a way to make it look easy. My mom raised 2 boys by herself and gave us the tools. She gave us the tools. I don't know where the fuck she got the tools from. But if I had to guess, probably came from the way she was raised. By my grandma. And my grandma, chances are, she's the way that she is because of the way she was raised. By my great-grandmother. This is why I have a family full of people that I will forever respect. We don't settle for mediocrity. We don't settle for weak. We get shit done, we figure it out. My mom raised 2 boys into men by herself. You ask the general public, you're not even supposed to be able to teach a boy how to be a man if you're a woman. But she did. And it's shit like that that makes me dismiss these common expressions. Shit as simple as put 2 and 2 together. Why the fuck do we say that? You're not putting 2 things with 2 things. You're taking one thing and putting it with one other thing. So if we're going to use that expression, it should be put 1 and 1 together. But you know, motherfuckers are so comfortable saying that shit because they took some shit that a bunch of other motherfuckers said and ran with it for so long, it doesn't even sound right to think about it and process it and put it in terms that are actually logical. So, you know, whatever. Shit like, I forgive, but I don't forget. Listen to the psychology of that shit. You forgive, but you don't forget. If you're telling me that you forgive me for something, but you're not going to forget it, that means that you're still waiting for an opening so you can hold whatever it is that you didn't all the way forgive me for over my head. There's a percentage left over of this thing that you apparently forgave me for. But whatever that percentage is still going to affect the way that you act towards me, the way that you speak to me, the way that you think about me. So now, this shit that you apparently forgave me for is still in play. If I tell you I forgive you, I've forgiven you. I'm not going to hold it over your head, because if I'm going to do that, I might as well not fucking talk to you no more. I don't have time to treat you as if you're someone that I don't want around me just so I can keep digging for reasons to keep you around and not be able to look you in your face and tell you what those reasons are if you were to ask me. Look, in case you haven't noticed by now, these videos ain't scripted. I don't write shit down and rehearse it and memorize it and then sit in front of this camera and spew a bunch of lines that I've pre-recorded or pre-wrote or some shit like that. This is me This is simply me telling you the type of shit that I think, say, and feel on a day-to-day basis. And the reason that I think so much, I think you understand the concept by now. I learned to love my pain. My pain is the shit that makes me not give a fuck that I've spent more time in my life on this planet talking to myself than anybody else. Because the world don't give a fuck, like I said. These motherfuckers ain't listening to you. If you saying something to them that does not coincide with what the fuck they want to feel, they tune you the fuck out. People hear everything that they want to hear, even when you don't say it. So I just spend more time in my own fucking head than anything else. Because at least when I speak to me, I know somebody's listening. You gotta learn to love your pain, dog. You gotta learn to embrace the shit that you can't stand. Because if you can embrace the shit that you can't stand, imagine how much better off you'll be every time something good happens to you. Something that you actually want to happen. I'm telling you, learn to embrace your pain. Don't just embrace it and sit and wallow in self-pity. You can. You're gonna be down. You're going to be down. But what you have to understand is making a decision to stay down is a whole different animal. Keep that shit in mind. You will fall. When boxers are in the ring, if you take a hard enough shot to the fucking head, you hitting the ground. But your will to fight is what makes you get the fuck up off the canvas and keep swinging.